Hello, this is the Russian Dynamite Masha Slamovich, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, bringing you the latest exclusive breaking news, previewing and reviewing the latest shows from WWE, AEW, New Japan, and interviewing your favorite wrestling talent every Saturday and Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox. I am your host, James J., with Kaliko Yachts, who is not here, Mitch Mayhem, who is also not here. But look who is here, Scooter Dust.
McClunky.
And it's not a great day for wrestling, as
No,
earlier
it's
this
not.
week we lost Tommy Tiny Lester.
Yeah,
At six,
tiny. There. Yep. 62.
yeah, that's that's pretty sad. And I mean, he wasn't like one of the biggest talent WWE ever had. But he was in the first ever WWE movie, which was basically a catalyst for you know Hulk Hogan, Roddy Piper, Jesse the Body, more recently The Rock, John Cena.
Oh yeah. And had things going different. Yeah, WrestleMania 6 wouldn't have been Hogan versus Warrior. It would have been Hogan versus Zeus.
I think that's a bit of a stretch, but
No, that actually was the case. Um, but because of Zeus's limited in-ring ability, uh, the idea was scrapped at the end of '89.
I mean, you know, Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior was in, 7 stars in the Tokyo Dome. But I mean, Hulk Hogan and Zeus at WrestleMania, I think that could have been Hulk Hogan and and Ultimate Warrior could have been Omega versus Okada, comparing the two, right?
I mean, back in the day, yeah, yeah, Hogan Warrior was 5 stars for what was wrestling then. Uh, now it's not. Um, but Zeus, you know, real name Tom Lister, mostly credited as Tiny Lister. Uh, yes, most his entire WWE career was spent basically as a shill for No Holds Barred, and then of course in '95 when he was Z Gangsta in that God, the Tower of Doom. Um, but honestly, his success really was in Hollywood. He's held some of the most memorable and iconic roles of cinema. In the Friday franchise, Debo. Uh, I think, but don't quote me on this. I think he can be credited as portraying the first ever African American president in The Fifth Element. Um, And of course, The Dark Knight, where he had 2 lines in that entire movie, but his dramatic ability in delivering that and the actions accompanied by it. He was one of the inmates on the ferry who ends up taking the detonator and decides to throw it out the window to not blow up the ferry of innocent people. And is he was just you'll the wrestling world will never forget him. The entertainment world will never forget him. Plus, he was a genuinely nice human being. He really was, from all the stories I read. And you know, while we can't say much about his career in wrestling, I mean, his his biggest accomplishment that didn't have to do with Hulk Hogan was he was ranked 500 on the PWI 500 in 1991.
And that's a slap to the face to 501 on that list.
And he has a victory over Abdullah the Butcher from 1990 in Puerto Rico for the World Wrestling Council. And if you ever had the pleasure of seeing Abdullah in person, and I have, back in 2003 at the Queen's Elks Lodge where the old ECW used to run. Abdullah's a crazy motherfucker. Yeah, wow. Nevertheless, he will be missed. He was young, and you might see stories about, oh, he's another COVID statistic. No, we don't know that. His death was ruled natural causes. Don't drag him into that.
Right.
Just remember him for the entertainment he brought into your life. He will be missed.
And of course, those of course go out to his family. And to lighten things up, Coleco Yachts has come in.
Man, I forgot how to join on Google Hangouts. They done slipped my shit. I used to be a Googleologist, and now I feel like I'm whack as hell. So it's just like not the business right now. What's good, man?
I mean, we're already obsolete. I mean, we are literally the last people on Google Hangouts ever.
Yeah, because they're transitioning over to Google Meet, aren't they?
Yeah, but we're not. We're gonna stay out of date.
We're almost as obsolete as Adobe Flash.
Yep, that's it keeps telling me to uninstall it, but maybe I need it. I don't know. You never know when you need it.
I had installed.
R.I.P. Adobe.
Adobe Flash is yeah, nah, it ain't the business. And Google, well, it's funny because Google trying to keep up with Zoom, but you would think Google would have had this shit first, and then they were like, "Fuck, someone did it better." Let's. Usually they just buy them up and be like, "Fuck it," but oh well, it is what it is.
we hope that you listened to our interview last Wednesday with Holden Albright. Me and Scooter are still on that ultimate Star Wars fan rivalry.
Oh, and, and there's an interesting story related to my wife. I told my wife, I said to her, McClunky. And you know what her response was? So this is the end of me, is it? And I'm like, there's no. there- You had to have looked that up. And she's like, nope. I remember it from episode 1.
Damn.
And I'm like, wow. Like, yeah, so Bulba said it, and it was added to Greedo's speech, before he now shoots first. Uh, and yeah, she wanted me to pass along that she is the Star Wars queen. Of course, yes, I humored her, but
Watch what you
of course,
say. I mean, you are the one that has to sleep beside her.
I mean, according to the U.S. Census, I'm an official Jedi, and of course,
Wow.
the rule is don't fuck with a Jedi Master.
Well, I actually have a Jedi diploma that said I graduated Jedi school, so I'm the ultimate.
I'm, I mean, there's only one way to solve this. Like, either trivia or somebody get their sabers and it's time to show up. So, one of the
You know what?
I want the latter.
I'm gonna say that I am 100% comfortable in sharing this mantle with James.
Oh, alright.
Look at that. Hey,
Co-Jedi,
look at that.
ultimate Star
Yeah,
Wars fans.
we are Jedi Sentinels.
See, peace on earth. Damn, and this is like Biggie and Tupac coming together. Ain't that some
And back to Holden Albright. He's actually wrestling our other friend Clay Wilson on the 23rd.
And since we both interviewed them, like I was wondering if maybe James, you should get behind one of them, and I'll get behind the other, and we'll go to a kayfabe war.
I am not
Oh,
against.
have them both come on the show and just face off like a face to face.
Like that was the other idea. I'm like, can we get both of them on at the same time? Maybe
Yeah,
maybe after the match, at some point next month.
After the match, because I don't need nobody. Oh my God, he talks shit about his mama.
And maybe we can actually like devote an episode to like the actual match and watch it with them, and they break it down for us. Just an idea.
You could maybe make that happen.
We'll see.
What is actually happening next Wednesday? We are interviewing Master Slamovic, and one of our most interesting and passionate interviews we've done so far.
Listener discretion is advised. If you have young kids, earmuffs.
And on the 23rd, we are interviewing Jack Stevens, and the interview everybody has been waiting for. Something big will happen on that interview that no Wrestling with Entertainment fan wants to not listen to. And coming out of the news, the biggest thing to happen this week, Becky Lynch, no longer injured. Congratulations to Becky.
I, Did you actually just call a pregnancy an injury?
That's what it is, right? I mean, it kept her out of action since April, so
Oh my God. Women, if you're listening, please don't come after us. Yeah, yeah, baby Rue. What a name!
Rue. Yeah.
Like going by like the actual name. I'm assuming the baby is going to take Seth's name. I mean, unless they're progressive. I mean, they're not married, so I mean, like Rue Black, which right there, that's a hell of an in-ring name already.
It really is, isn't it? And
Just,
trying to Cleco's having some technical difficulties at the moment. But yeah, obviously, Becky is going to be the father, right? And Seth's going to be the mother, correct?
yeah,
She is
I
the
mean,
man.
I guess we could consider this the first man to give birth. I mean,
Coleco, your thoughts? If you could unmute.
I I just jumped back in. This thing kicked me out, man. Google Hangouts really trying to kick me out. Now I feel like Mitch. What's the question again?
we can see you, yeah.
I'm thinking that hat he's wearing.
Hood.
Becky Lynch pregnancy.
Oh my God, I felt like that was like the. It felt TMZ-ish amongst like wrestling fans, considering there was a dude already claiming that she had already gave birth when she announced she was pregnant. Like it was just all awkward. Like it's just like people can't let those folks have a life. It just felt weird. I mean, congratulations to them. I mean, I'm glad that they're both doing well. Let her do her thing. And then 8 weeks later, Vince is going to call her ass for the women's Royal Rumble. Because that sounds like something he would do, right?
I mean, Maurice came back 4 months after giving birth, so I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
like,
so it's not out the realm. Yeah, not out the realm. But I feel like if she were to come back early, the Rumble would be the best bet because she could just kind of hide out and
yeah,
not, and especially when she's winded, because I think that's going to be her biggest problem, the cardio and getting back in rhythm. But I mean, I'm glad that they're doing well. Seth is on paternity leave. Look at him doing his thing. So I mean, just glad everybody's doing well. Everybody's healthy. No pregnancy complications, especially with COVID.
I mean, now that the Messiah has had a son, I'm sorry, daughter. I'm an idiot. Because I was going to make a Jesus allegory and totally messed that up.
I mean, can you even make that one? I mean, you're technically Jewish, so.
Jesus was Jewish.
And
Yes, he was, James. What are you talking about?
And that's what we will. And that's where
This-
we will end this conversation.
That's it's like the squash question.
And we're being joined by.
How dare you? A squash is still a fucking vegetable. They don't serve it with a fruit salad.
Maybe in its lifestyle.
I mean, according to all of our interviews, the majority of them have said that squash is a vegetable as well. So, hey, you're in the majority, Kaliko. And we're being
Yeah,
joined.
because the squash is not the holiday fruit salad. You don't think squash in a fruit basket.
And we're being joined by Mitch Mayhem at the moment.
Hey, what up?
Hey, what it do?
talking about Becky Lynch's pregnancy. Any comments?
Mm, no, she just seems happy. I mean, that's cool.
All right. And next up on the news bracket is there are actually plans for Sting to wrestle in AEW. Scooter, this is not a real good idea, is it?
No, probably not. But like I said, it's mostly probably going to be either one big match and possibly a 6-man tag where Sting will come in for the finish, do the Stinger Splash, Scorpion Deathlock, maybe a Scorpion Death Drop. But it does seem pretty clear that Sting is going to pass the mantle to Darby Allin.
It does seem that way. Mitch, your thoughts on Sting possibly doing another match?
You know me, I'm the biggest Sting mark around. So if you have the right opponent, there's always a market for it. So I'm glad that him and AEW were able to link up, that he was able to get out of the WWE contract in the first place. So congrats to him, because I know that was binding him for a while.
But I thought that he is injured, and if he bumps the wrong way, it's over for Sting, and that's not a good look for AEW, right?
You can say that about not I won't say that name, but about people like scrawny people that they're one bump away from going paralyzed. I mean, that's for a lot of people, not just Sting.
I mean, that was the case
And,
with
and
Bret Hart, and they managed to put something together for WrestleMania 26, where Bret doesn't do a single thing and just locks on the sharpshooter. So it's feasible, not necessarily advisable.
But I think like someone like maybe Cody, I think could carry him enough.
What about you, Kaliko? Your thoughts on Sting?
Not Darby Allin though. Real quick, I think that's that's a mistake. Anyways, go ahead.
I mean, Cody would be the right opponent eventually, because I feel like that's where the story seems to be going. It's going to where Cody is like trying to ingratiate himself in front of Sting, and Sting's like, "Bro, I'm not here for you. I'm here for somebody else." And Cody gets pissed about it, and that's where they're gonna come to blows. But to me, I always said it was better for Darby for it to enhance his. I mean, I guess because he might be going against Brian Cage, it would be helpful for him to get his character developed before he faces Brian Cage. But I always felt like bringing someone like Sting to put Allen up would be something for next level, like to take him to the next level, like above where he is now. But then again, I felt like that they just like he was hot, and then they just kind of blew him off, and now they're trying to start from scratch with Sting, and I'm just wondering if that's enough.
And real quick about something you said, like, let me just emphasize this real quick. How do you with Sting? There's already a storyline just waiting to be had with anyone with the last name Rhodes, with his and Dusty's history. Like, yeah, even without anything that we saw in AEW, like there's an underlying something there between Sting and Cody.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right, because and the story is writing itself because Cody's like, I've been waiting to get with you for a while, and Sting's like, bro, it's not about you, and that's where I think they're gonna go to heads about because I
You know
think
what I think it is? Like I kind of said it last week. I think it's like a introspection, like a it's hard to
introspect.
explain, like yeah, like he's like searching into their soul, like to see like okay, who are you really? You know what I mean?
Right.
I think Cody is more like acknowledge me at this
Like
point
I think
because
he's like he knows there's another side to Cody that you know like he might think right now that Cody's being fake. You know the way he's like the way he's acting now. I don't know. So it's something like that.
that could be the case. But
I'm just saying it could be something like that. That like Sting thinks he's pulling one over on him, but he knows better. Like you know, one of those guy mind game kind of situations.
right. I get where you're coming from. But I feel like Sting is the type of character where if he knew somebody was fake, he would call it right there, right?
I mean, not if the other guy was playing chess, he would be quiet about it and make his move behind the scenes, right? Just saying.
True, but Sting, I don't know. Sting made his intentions pretty clear.
Sting had to do with the NWO. He can make his intentions clear and be tactically smart at the same time, you know.
And something that also
True, both can happen.
it's
You're
not
right. Both can
exclusive.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not mutually exclusive. So yeah, you're all right about that.
big thing that came out this week that everybody's talking about really is Kenny Omega made his Impact Wrestling debut at the end of the show. Yeah.
No,
In a parking lot in Florida.
Nashville. Yeah, they claimed it was Nashville.
Yeah. Scooter,
And they
your
just sent
thoughts?
Josh Matthews down to Florida. My thoughts.
no, like George Matthews was on that bus from the audio.
This was basically an hour and 45 minutes of waiting to hear what Kenny had to say.
Right.
Hour 45-minute cock tease.
And it didn't disappoint. I don't like the fact that it was pretty much the same promo the next night on Dynamite.
For those people
But-
that didn't see Impact, that's what I gathered from
But- Okay, all right.
By the way, like I was right about how like they had a little Tony Khan had a little ad on Impact TV, so they are like like it's not all one sided. AEW is getting something out of it, more but yeah.
Please continue, Scooter.
Sorry, didn't mean to cut anyone off.
Yeah, basically, this is the wrestling equivalent of the Avengers. And Kenny is Thanos. This is the collector, Kenny Omega. But more importantly than that, it's the cleaner. Hashtag Kenny is Thanos.
What about you, Kaliko? What are your thoughts on Omega on Impact Wrestling?
Disappointed, honestly, because they went through an hour and a half to get to nothing really. I felt like there was nothing really there. Like the only thing that it really did was just make Rich Swann look unimportant. Because I mean, you would think Impact's greatest or current champion, their biggest champion, would be like more privy, and I see where they're going with it, but I just can't help but think of Austin Aries got to be somewhere pissed about this whole collector thing. He's got to be mad as hell because he's just sitting there like, bro, I did not do this shit like 3-4 years ago. Like, so, I mean, not even 3-4 years ago, like 2 years ago.
I mean, when you collect belts in the woods, does anybody actually see it?
Just because somebody didn't see it doesn't mean it didn't happen. we got it. Well, social media. Everybody got the pictures now, man. There's pictures of him with all these damn belts. So I just feel like Kenny's heel persona is not there yet at AEW because to me, what made him cool a vicious heel in New Japan is not what he's doing now, and I get why he's not doing it, but he's got to be a little bit more ruthless rather than just being sarcastic with his words.
And
If that makes sense.
right. And Mitch kind of alluded to it earlier. Tony Khan bought an ad on Impact Wrestling to kind of share his feelings with the whole Kenny Omega situation. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the first time Tony Khan has been on a wrestling show as a personality. Am I wrong, Scooter?
You are correct. This is essentially Tony Khan becoming the Mr. McMahon of AEW.
It was pretty entertaining as well. I think I got more out of that than the Kenny Omega interview, to be honest.
Yeah.
What about you, Mitch?
The Omega situation. What exactly?
No,
Say again?
Tony Khan buying an ad.
I thought it was hokey and corny, but it fulfilled its purpose. So, I mean,
And Kaliko?
It is what it is with that thing.
exactly.
I mean, to me at that point, it was just them trying to save face, and the fact that they had Tony Schiavone say the last time I was on AEW, I did one match and I was done for 18 years. Yeah, that part.
No, the last time I was on TNA.
Yeah,
TNA.
25 years. That would have been 95, by the way.
So yeah, that was a little
lie.
dig at Impact. That was a dig, but I mean, that just makes it seem like that AEW's not in this whole Earthbomb WWE thing with all these other companies yet, or they're trying to make that appearance.
I think they got a foot in the door. Obviously, they do with Impact.
Oh yeah, but I'm just saying by them doing that, they're trying to create the facade that it's, they're only here, Kenny's here. Yeah, that part, like to keep the rivalry.
To suspend belief, right? It's any goal in the wrestling gimmick.
Yeah.
And honestly, this little AEW invasion angle worked in Impact's favor. They did probably their biggest numbers ever on the Access channel and on their Twitch stream. Is this sustainable, or do you think that this is gonna just kind of fizzle out for them? Scooter?
For Impact, unless we see some like immediate talent showing up, I think it's gonna fizzle out. And this is just a one-time spike in the ratings for Impact. Honestly, when Kenny had said expect a big surprise tomorrow on Dynamite, and when he referenced Lex Luger, everybody thought, well, either one, he was going to excavate the corpse of Yokozuna, or two, that someone was going to make a surprise appearance. And I thought James Storm, and my idea was he shows up to Dynamite to defend Impact's honor, and then aligns with Kenny, and essentially replaces Adam Page, Hangman, as the at his side, and that leads to a Hangman Cowboy feud, because eventually it's got to be Hangman at the end of this.
I mean, we can all hope that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it seems like he's joining the Dark Order at this moment. And you know that James Storm coming on Impact Wrestling sounds good to me. But I would like any Impact star to have maybe made an appearance on AEW, just to kind of balance out this partnership. I want to say this.
Yeah.
What about you, Mitch? What are your thoughts?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Can Impact Wrestling sustain what Kenny Omega and AEW has given them?
I don't see it going past a few months personally. I think it's a boost for both of them, and for Kenny to give Impact the rub, and then I would hope Impact or I almost called them TNA. AEW would make a deal with Impact to get some of their women in for their women's division. Hopefully, that would be the smart thing to do.
Right.
And other than that, if it can go on for further than a few months, and it be like Impact's on AEW and AEW's on Impact, I don't know. Maybe it could work, but I don't see it going past a few months in its current iteration.
What say you, Kaliko?
Until there's action, I don't see jack shit going down.
Right.
Because to me, it just seemed like words talking, and it seemed more like a AEW favor, considering that no one showed up the next night. Because it would have made sense for Rich Swann to roll his ass up to AEW and be like, "What the fuck, Chuck?" But that didn't happen.
Yeah.
But that didn't happen. So to me, that made it seem even more like, oh yeah, Kenny just did it as a favor, and
or
it is what it is.
Let me cross this by you. Or maybe this move by AEW is to wine and dine Impact, and it's going to be a slow process to they're working together, but in terms of at what level, that's going to be determined by certain things AEW does, like giving them Kenny Omega.
But honestly, if it was a fair deal, the only reason I say that is because if it was a fair deal, it would have been a 1-for-1. So basically, I feel like Kenny showing up on Impact on Tuesday would render consequences for AEW to retaliate on Wednesday. Does that make sense?
That's why I said they got to get those women for the women's division, and then it makes it worth it, in my opinion.
Well,
but to me, even
you get a Jordan Grace on AEW. Whew.
Oh yeah, I get what you're saying, but to me, the deal is not seeming to be reciprocated from the other side. Does that make sense?
Here's my point. Not yet. It just happened. Give it a little time.
I mean, if I'm gonna let somebody come on my program,
but there's a little period where it's the opposite of the honeymoon period, where everyone's on their heel or their toes, kind of like watching the others move. So that might be a period.
Well,
I get that, but if I was in Impact's case, I would be like have the Wu-Tang Clan up in that bitch. I'd have like everybody named Mama rolling up into Jacksonville if that were the case. But that's just me. I get your point, the wait and see approach, but I just felt like if it were the case, it should have been a reciprocated deal, because I feel like AEW seems to be that way. Where they
do, but I think it's coming. We just gotta wait for the payoff.
Spooner, you have a point.
And if they don't, then I agree with you, Kaliko. But go ahead.
Well, I mean, technically, we can say that Kenny Omega didn't step foot inside the building for Impact. So technically, right now, Impact has nothing to retaliate for when you think about it. The only thing.
I get that. I feel Rich Swann would have something, but I get it. Sorry to interrupt.
Can we overlook? Are we overlooking the fact that Rich Swann was basically stopped from leaving?
Yeah, he couldn't even go to near the bus. That was my point.
Like
Like
he couldn't go home.
he couldn't go nowhere. So that's why I feel like if anybody had a right to like be out of pocket, it would be him. You know what I'm saying?
And the other thing is that this gives both AEW and Impact a second venue.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
Which
I
I think
will say though,
is the biggest benefit.
I will say this: the fact that they had a two-seater helicopter and AEW tried to make it seem like Don Callis came out the helicopter. Hey, you ain't fooling nobody, bro. You ain't fooling nobody. Fuck is y'all talking about, son? Like, I'm looking like, yo, two-seater helicopter. And I'm like, oh yeah, Kitty came out, and then
So,
Don just happened to pop out. So I'm like, bro, no, that ain't how that works.
a bus to a helicopter, and then a unicycle, and then it was like a clown car.
Yeah, they made it clown cars as hell. Like, I see y'all.
Next thing on the agenda is WWE is bringing Otis, Keith Lee, Bobby Cato, Dio Madden, and Omos back to the Performance Center for some training. In a class that will be taught by Adam Pearce and Drew Gulak. The only name that really shocks me on this list is Keith Lee, considering that he's probably the biggest, the most athletic out of all of them.
Why would he need training? That doesn't make any sense to me.
That's what kind of struck me as
Unless
crazy.
it's about weight.
Well, I mean, these are all pretty big guys.
Right, that's what I was gathering from that.
Yeah, it's all these big guys.
Right, so I think it has to do with the Mark Henry, Yokozuna, yeah, kind of like the trimmed down kind of situation that Vince does with bigger guys.
Do you see that to be a benefit
But it sounds
to
like
these
me.
guys? Or do you think that maybe not so much?
Say that again, I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Do you think that will benefit these other guys like Otis and Baba Kato? I mean, almost hasn't even had a match yet, so it's definitely going to benefit him.
I don't know if it'll benefit if they can thrive in the situation and do what Vince wants. And I mean, if he's expecting them to cut weight and get thinner, I don't know what he's expecting. So it just depends on the situation and per individual person.
What say you, Scooter?
What's the question? No, actually, I was taking care of something.
Oh, you seriously don't know the question.
Dude, I'm telling you.
I got you. Because I don't know, man. To me, I don't think it's a weight. I think it's more.
Okay.
Keep in mind, Keith Lee's been in NXT for what, a year and a half?
More than that, I think.
What, 2018?
Yeah, roughly.
Roughly. So I think it's more, to me, with him, it's probably more of the WWE way more so than I think. Because you got to keep in mind, like, even because the number one thing that they try to train, especially with people coming from the indie scene, is how to wrestle within the WWE frame, as far as like clock and mechanics and shit like that. I think that's probably more the case. Either that or they're trying to make them big dudes work like big dudes instead of like trying to do flips and shit. But then again, I feel like Keith Lee should be. He hasn't really done anything that was like that would be over the top like flippy shit. So maybe it's more psychology. Maybe it's more, I wouldn't put it too past. I wouldn't go too past it. I mean, they're going back and retooling. It's not like they demoted them all to fucking NXT. Then we would have an issue.
Scooter, you wanna finish us off?
The weight issue. I mean, this is this is a Vince issue.
Yes,
It really is. Quite honestly, it's a Vince issue, and it's Vince throwing a fit, and
He's usually getting his way.
I mean, I don't know how. I don't know. I can't see any logic in sending what was your biggest connection to the African American audience back to training, essentially saying, "Oh no, we don't like. I don't like the way you wrestle when Keith Lee's been a friggin' workhorse."
It's been a meme that Vince, like on a flip of a dime, if your hair is wrong one day, or if you go walk to the left too much one day, that Vince picks up on it and doesn't let you live it down. It's like a meme by now.
I mean, the other guys that were confirmed, I mean, Otis, Barbacato, Dio Madden, almost, they're all not exactly the most athletic guys. And they are maybe bigger than Keith Lee in size stature. Do you think that they only drew Keith Lee into the mix to maybe lead by example and kind of take that spot as top of the class, kind of, sort of?
I wouldn't put it past them because Keith Lee, he seems to be more a company guy than anybody. So he's not going to be the guy to throw a bitch fit.
Right.
I mean, and that's why I'm like, I feel like we're throwing a bitch fit for something where he's not probably even looking at it like that. So, especially when you saw the documentary. So to me, it just seems more like he's going to be like, fuck it, all right, whatever, do whatever. So that's why I'm saying that's why I think the way I think about it.
Fair enough. Alright. And it is time for the review segment of the show. We are wrestling with NXT War Games Takeover. And it was last Sunday. And the first match out was Team Candice LeRae defeating Team Shotzi Blackheart in a War Games match. Scooter, your thoughts on the match?
It was a great War Games match that for some reason it just seemed like it ended abruptly. And I mean, I think that's the only really bad thing with Raquel Gonzalez, pinning the NXT Women's Champion to win the match.
Right.
It's just great match. The finish took me out of it a little bit.
And it doesn't exactly seem that's where Io Shirai is heading if you watched NXT on Wednesday as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What about you, Kaliko? What was your thoughts on the match?
It was a great opening match. I felt like Scooter's right in the point because I feel like that should have been. I felt like that's supposed to have been Candace pinning Io because I feel like that was going to send the point home. But I think Candace got hurt, and I already know exactly where she got hurt, where she put her freaking wrists up when Shotzi did the whole dove off the ladder, and I'm like, yo, no. Gravity says otherwise, my man. But honestly, even with that, the fact that Raquel Gonzalez got the win, it even by happenstance, it made her seem like the opposite of what Rhea Ripley is. She's going to be a big heel.
I don't necessarily
maybe not immediately, but it's something to keep your eyes on down the line.
I don't necessarily think that she has the ability of Rhea Ripley, but they're certainly trying something with her. And yeah, Mitch.
Huh? No, I didn't say anything.
Oh, I thought you was trying to make a point.
No, I didn't say anything. No.
Okay. And like you alluded to, Candice LeRae broke her arm in the match, which sucks for her, but I think it kind of adds to the War Games match, you know?
I mean, as far as cementing the brutality of it, but I don't exactly think it's going to be a positive. That's good. That's be turned into a positive.
Next match on the card, Tommaso Ciampa defeated Timothy Thatcher in what was the dark horse match of the night. I mean, this was a great show. This was a great match. No, Scooter?
Yes, another great match with another seemingly out of nowhere ending.
Right. I mean, it kind of obviously Willow Bell is Ciampa's new finisher.
I mean, it's usually the setup for the fairy tale ending, but this. I get what they were trying to do. They're almost trying to essentially make like Ciampa and Thatcher mirror each other in a way, and I think that's going. I think we may end up with Ciampa and Thatcher as allies at some point.
That's a scary thought, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, but what's a Kaliko?
Let the record show 2 for 2 so far in calling these matches. I think I had a perfect card. I might have had a perfect card. You might want to pull that up. Pull the tape. Anyways, good match though. And yeah, I see Scooter point, but yeah, Thatcher had a fucked up eardrum.
Yeah, that
That would be obvious reason why that match was like,
Blood ain't supposed to be coming from there.
yeah. Yeah. Blood ain't coming. Ain't supposed to be coming from there, bro. Let's like call this over. But another hard hitting match.
Lost his hearing. Lost some hearing after that.
I mean, it was a pretty bad match.
You mean
in a good sense. Next up, Dexter Loomis defeated Cameron Grimes in a strap match. These guys are the next two stars in NXT, correct, Scooter?
Yeah, and there's no doubt in my mind that if there was an actual crowd, they would be on fire for Loomis. Yeah, I mean, I compared him to Steve Austin. If you shaved him, he would look exactly like Steve Austin. And then early in the match, he pulls out a stunner.
And a double a spine spine buster. What's it called? Lutez press.
The Thez press.
Thez press.
Like you can't tell me they're not gonna push this guy to the moon soon.
Is that a pun considering who he wrestled?
To the moon. And you know what? I gonna say the same for Cameron Grimes, because if there was a crowd, he'd be getting massive jeers. And Cameron Grimes, top 3 of the. No, you know what? I said the top 3 hardest working in NXT this year: Gargano, Kyle O'Reilly, and Cameron Grimes.
I mean, it's really hard to argue that point. Mitch, who do you think is gonna reach the championship first? Grimes or Loomis?
That's a good question. I personally feel Loomis will get there first, but both of them are on the right track.
Right. And Kaliko, finish us off here.
I want to recant. I want to recant my previous statement. I did get this match wrong because I thought Cameron Grimes would win. God damn it!
Yeah, and I actually got it right for once, right?
There's always one, isn't there?
There's always fucking one. I did not think about this.
Yeah.
But it was a good match. Grimes worked it really well. Like he really sold the fact that he was scared of shit, and he actually he kind of did that psychology. And I'm not gonna say he's exactly like this, but the Shawn Michaels psychology, where like he could be scared is halfway shit to death, but when he strategized his way into an opening, he took advantage. And that is what Cameron Grimes is good at, like really good at as a heel.
Absolutely. And talking about a great heel, Johnny Gargano defeated Leon Ruff and Damian Priest to win his 3rd North American Championship. Scooter, your thoughts on the match?
Well, we all thought it was gonna play out one way, but then it just ended up playing out the second way that we all thought. That that it was just gonna be not exactly a straight up win for Gargano, but uh, now with Gargano establishing the way, which really I could see uh, Disney getting upset over that. If he says this is the way, I expect Mando to be right there and just blast him right in the head.
Oh,
Uh,
without a doubt.
but the 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 storytelling in this match was great. It was absolutely great with the dynamic between Leon Ruff and Damian Priest. And I think they need to explore that a little bit further. I mean, yeah, they're sticking to pushing Ruff.
Right.
He's teaming with Kushida to face Gargano and Theory, which, I mean, I'm guessing this is going to lead more to Kushida and Gargano.
I mean,
But
everybody knows whoever gets first dibs on Gargano is winning the championship, right?
true.
No, not this time. And what did I tell you about Gargano and his record for the North American title at Takeovers? He's only lost one.
But the in the fact that essentially, while we saw Austin Theory get involved, it was Leon Ruff that was the reason that Damian Priest didn't win. Austin Theory was the reason Leon Ruff didn't win. So,
And Damian Priest is on to bigger and better things with Karrion Cross rivalry, so it does necessarily leave Leon Ruff and Kushida in the title match for the North American Championship. Mitch, what are your thoughts on Gargano winning his third North American Championship?
It wasn't shocking to me. I kind of expected it. I guess he's like focusing on just the North American title instead of going for the NXT World title. He's in his comfort zone. Not much more I can say about that than good job for Gargano.
What about you, Kaliko?
I like the fact that Gargano, the whole time of the match, was never trying to pin Priest. Like that dynamic
Real quick,
that he literally was trying to pin Ruff the entire. That's what a heel's supposed to do. Like, fuck, try to pin the big dude. I'm gonna take advantage of this small fry right here and
right.
try to work his ass over. So that was like, that's why I think Priest is going to be still in this feud because of the simple fact of Gargano avoiding him at all costs. So now I think, now that's where I think it's going to go. I think Leon will get his rematch, but the match in itself, story wise, was really, really good. Everybody played their parts perfectly.
Mitch, you wanted to say something?
What was that? Oh yeah, the Priest and Gargano situation. I feel like that's another case of like the recycled match types over and over again. We've seen that quite a few times already,
Right.
in different variables. But yeah.
And the last match on the card, War Games match, the Undisputed Era defeated the Kings of NXT. And maybe one of the longest matches we've seen in quite some time. This almost went an hour, but it was, needless to say, it was brutal as hell. Scooter, your thoughts on the match?
If you can't respect what Pat McAfee can do in the ring after this match, screw off. Basically,
You can still not like him though.
McAfee did his job perfectly. Absolutely perfectly. The match was brutal, entertaining, near fall after near fall. This was 7 stars.
It'd be 84 in the Tokyo Dome.
And I think this is the world making up. It's God making up for Steve McMichael.
Mitch, your thoughts?
I'm sorry, the ADHD. My mind like goes pew 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 pew. Can you repeat? Can you say what we were talking about again? I'm sorry.
Undisputed Era and the Kings of NXT in a War Games match.
Okay, remind me again. Who's the Kings of NXT?
Pat McAfee, Pete Dunne, Oni Lorcan, and Danny
Oh,
Burch.
that's their name. Okay. I'll never like Pat McAfee. I never will. But I can appreciate his value in what he did last night. I'll say that.
All right. And what about you, Kaliko?
He did work his ass off.
I think we could all respect that, right?
Yeah, I respect it. But I just as a personality, I'll never like him.
I don't think that you're the only person.
Right.
Kaliko?
Yeah, I'm here. The match. I think I like the fact that Pat McAfee the next day wore a neck brace on his damn TV show and sold the fucking match. I think that was more important than anything in the fucking world. The fact that he did just like not sell it. You know what I'm saying? The fact that he was like, they're gonna pay and he's sore as shit. You know what I mean? That to me shows that he cares about the damn business. Or yeah, the damn business. Fuck it. He cares about the damn business. But I mean the Undisputed Era winning the Undisputed Era War Games, I feel like they should just name it after him because I feel like they've been in every last fucking one of these things. Just call it the Undisputed War Games or some shit like that, right? But
it was.
So to me, it just cemented their legacy as a faction. Where they go from here, who knows? But for the one night, they were the '96 Bulls, man. So that's all that matters to them.
And that will conclude our coverage of NXT Takeover War Games. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, and comment both on YouTube and Castbox. Join us this Wednesday for our Masha Slamovic interview. That is one you don't want to miss. And you can always join the conversation on Twitter. I am at JamesJ993, and everything you want to know about wrestling with entertainment, I tweet out. Kaliko, where can they find you?
I am Kaliko.
And
That's the place. That's where we at. That's where the jokes be, and that's where we be. That's how we roll.
all right. Where can they find Mitch Mayhem if Mitch Mayhem tweeted?
You can find me at Mitch Mayhem X on Twitter. In few upcoming, I might have other avenues to contact me, but for right now, yeah, just Twitter.
And where can they find Scooter Dust?
As always, you can find me on Twitter at Scooter Dust and holding it down for the UNB Network at UNBS Wrestling.
For Coleco Yachts, Mitch Mayhem, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with Entertainment.